When I was 18-year-old, I was almost a high school dropout. But there was a big turning point in my life. I really got into this British band called the Beatles. The Beatles. Seems like Japanese people are more excited than British people. But I started studying English at 18 because I wanted to know what the Beatles were saying in the songs. Then that was pretty fun studying English, so I decided to go to university to major in English literature. That was like a big dream for me to go to university, but I studied harder, I passed the exam, then I did enter the university that I wanted to enter. But when I started taking those English literature classes in the university, I was really disappointed. Do you know why? In the university, in English literature classes, we only read English literature translated into Japanese because Japanese professors can't speak English. Well, there was one class in which we read literature in English, but it was like, oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Then I thy father. That wasn't the English I knew, you know, like early modern English or something, which I never understood. The teacher says, you don't have to understand every word, just memorize them all. So I was like, why? Why do we do this? To train our memory or something? I came here to study English. But thank God there were still a couple of English conversation classes with native teachers. That's what I wanted, you know. One was with American teacher and the other one was with British teacher. I didn't know that there were different accents. So I wondered with which accent I should speak English, American or British? Wait. Alright, I asked both teachers. The American teacher said, oh, the American accent is much better. While the British teacher said, British English is probably better. So I was like, which beta is better? Right, that's what I'm asking. I love this reaction, you know, like when native speakers get the joke and they laugh while Japanese people get the joke and they're like, oh. Anyways, I took both classes for a year and I ended up having this kind of mixed up strange accent. And the next year, I took an advanced English conversation class with this teacher from Adelaide, Australia. Yeah, his accent was much more advanced and difficult to understand. But he did teach us advanced English, which I had never learned before. You know, he always started his class saying, hey, let's get this fucking class started. So I took his fucking class for a year and learned how to curse from that asshole. I even learned this word asshole from him. And the next year, I finally didn't take the more advanced English class with this teacher from India. Yeah, and a few years ago, I graduated from the university somehow, and now I speak English. But I kind of regret that I studied English so hard, so that now I get what the Beatles are saying in the songs. And I cannot enjoy my old favorite tunes anymore, especially the Ringo Starr's ones. He's like, what's that? I like to be under the sea, in an octopus's garden, in the shade. What the fuck? Did I really love this song before? What about this one? We all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. You know, there are a lot of Japanese people who love this song without knowing what's said in the song, which is acceptable for me. But I cannot put up with those old Japanese Beatles critics who study the Beatles lyrics so seriously. They say, Yellow Submarine is a great metaphor for life. Really? That's bullshit. There's only one way we can understand or enjoy the Beatles lyrics. Just get as high as they were when they wrote the songs. But I don't do drugs, so I will just let it be. Thanks.